Happy Friday, everyone. I am going to keep this very short, actually. This is a short video because I think just not enough days have passed, or I don't know where all of this, we're going to talk about this, but not yet. Hold on. I don't know why. Okay, there, that's better. Yeah, this week went by so fast. I don't know where the week went. It doesn't feel like Friday. It doesn't feel like this week even happened, if that makes sense. And yeah, I don't know, my hair, need to dye it like tomorrow. I don't know. Before we get into the very few short topics, I went ahead and tried. This is probably not interesting to a lot of people, so fast forward if you're on replay. But I went ahead and tried to get a detangler brush, and it kind of works. This is mine. I bought, they're like two, they're on my Amazon like favorites or whatever site. I bought two. One is for Odette, my dog, and I don't know if it works that well, but it works better. It's less painful for her. I just want to do my top. I don't know. It didn't really help. Didn't really do anything. Let me put my hair up. I had my hair up all day today, and now I don't know where my clippy things are. You know, I almost whatever. Anyways, so there's not much about Blake Lively. There's a couple of news things that I thought of covering or talking about, and then there's the Sinners movie, which I'll talk about last. I think part of the reason why I don't really feel like there's much to say around Blake Lively. I mean, there's definitely some things, but there was a lot on Court Listener or whatever. And let me pull that up for you right now, actually. There's a lot, but then there's a lot. And also, there's a lot that I don't have access to. And there's just a lot, and a lot, and a lot. And I feel, actually, I think I was, it made me feel a little better because I think Ask Two Lawyers, which my heart goes out to Stewart and his family, but also to all of them. But yeah, I think they were saying that there's not, I don't know, someone was saying that there's not much in the meantime. Right now, it's just, I don't even think distractions could be. Someone else was saying that these filings, latest filings, I think we were talking about this a few times. They're just like kind of distractions or trying to exhaust the court, the judge, us, with so many filings, so many things. I'm very curious what will happen with this amicus. What is it? Amicus. What do they call it? Amicus briefs? Just that? I thought it was like a whole thing, a whole like thing. Anyways, I'm curious what will happen, what the judge will decide, because I feel like there were good points made by Friedman. But I don't know. The judge is so quiet, so I feel like we're in for a lot once he does get back to this case, because he might be more pressed with other more, current cases. Yeah, we might get a lot of responses suddenly and stuff. But yeah, today, what came out today? A few things, a couple of things, just. What is this? On behalf of Leslie Sloan and Vision PR, We write regarding our pending motion to compel James Vituska or whatever to produce documents in response to a third-party subpoena. This is I don't, probably this is very common, but this particular one just makes me think how much being a judge is like being a parent to like kids, and it's weird to say because these people are very much adults. I mean, the lawyers, and in this case, also the defendants and the plaintiffs. But it sounds like, hey, dad, because it's a male judge. Um, my dad was like, what? He's not playing nice. He's not responding to me. He's, like, make him respond. That's what this sounds like. So it makes me think of that part of law that you don't, I guess, maybe think of many times. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know. I feel like I really do feel like I am where, in my point of view, we're at a point where it's more just sitting and waiting. I think it was Asked Two Lawyers and their, what, 2 days ago or one day ago video or live that said, don't file things, don't um, make things worse, don't boggle down the court and the judge, because it'll just, like, it's not going to be really favorable. It's not going to, like, help, and it might even hinder, because it just, like, why, Friedman is a competent lawyer. He has his whole team. I think there's two different teams or two different law firms. I don't know. Sorry, I was eating granola. And let them, deal with it. Hi, Angel. Welcome. The first one today. You're the first one. I was saying that this is going to be short. Maybe not like, not half an hour short, but definitely before midnight, unlike other times when Fridays go on until like 2 a.m. Because I don't have much to say, and really it's more, I will have a lot more to say about the Sinners movie that I saw yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, than Blake Lively. And as far as Blake Lively, I was saying, like, I think that I agree that, yeah, I should have like little prizes. I don't know what they would be. But I was saying, as far as the Blake Lively thing, there's not much that I want to cover. I feel like is important to cover. There's just a lot of back and forth, a lot of filings. And I do think, I love what the Ask Two Lawyers said yesterday or 2 days ago, as far as just let the lawyers do their lawyering and trust that Friedman is a great lawyer, and there's not much we can do as a public, and that we should do as a public, because we, one, know so much less than anyone involved, and we also will make it worse. We'll just bog down the whole thing. And I mean, I felt like this for a few weeks, as far as like all these little things. I think that subpoena, or the Friedman's letter and affidavit and stuff, I think that was like the biggest thing, because it was a bombshell, which I'll get through. I'll just start into, I mean, I already started into the Blake Lively thing and then move on to Sinners. But I just literally, before coming on, and I don't know if I have it. It's going to be so weird. Because I might, I thought that was Ryan Starr for a second. I might just show you on my phone. I don't know. But Taylor Swift just won her records. All the things. High on him. All the things that I mean, it's done, the deal. It just feels like it's not a coincidence. I forget who I saw first talk about, like, so this subpoena happened. Brian Friedman got a phone call. They're talking amicably, Venable and him and all that stuff. And suddenly Scooter Braun is brought up as like a helper to Taylor Swift for getting her records that, you know, it was like the biggest feud, not of all time, but to Taylor Swift and her fans, for the last, what, 5, 10 years, whatever. I have coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence. So when I saw this, and I mean, it's not like it's bad. The deals happen all the time, and no one, you know, did anything to anyone, you know, physically. Like, I started watching Wild Card, the show, and, you know, things like that. Hi, Maria. Um, oh, I'm so sorry. I think my mom has had that. She's feeling better now, but this past week or last, I don't know when it started, she was like really bad. So, yeah, I hope you feel well. And I will try my best to talk not as crazy. I also was saying this will be very short compared to all the other lives. Not much that I have to say. Um, so yeah. But I'm glad you're here. But take care. Drink some elderflower tea if you have. Okay, so Taylor Swift. This was just like, I don't know. To me, it just, maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's nothing. I just feel like someone put that out into the internet that it's like a possibility. I don't know if it was Melanie or someone else. I mean, I want to say Melanie because I was watching her things more, but yeah, I can't get this out of my head that this is not a coincidence that Taylor Swift buys back the rights to her master recordings. Also, if we'll go, all of the music I've ever made now belongs to me. I've been bursting into tears of joy ever since I found out this really is happening. This is really happening. I think a couple of things. One, I personally don't think it's a coincidence, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not stating any facts. I'm stating a theory. And then two, I think that um, she has more important things that are occupying her mind now. And this is a very joyful, big thing for her to have during this moment when she is being dragged. And I do think that she was somewhat, you know, working with Blake, but I don't, like, maybe it was just that meeting that she showed up. Blake was saying, hey, help me out, come to this meeting. This director doesn't, you know, is being sexist or something or whatever. And Taylor's like, oh, yeah, I got your back. And she showed up. Whether it's just that or it's like more, whether she really knew things and went along with it like a mean girl, or she didn't know things and um, was just kind of like, you know, manipulated into it, or she didn't even do anything. I don't know. But I think at least one little piece she did have a part of. However, live and learn. And I think she definitely has so much more going for her than this. And now, as I say that, I definitely feel like if she isn't feeling like Blake is not worth it, I mean, I've been there. I get it, but I think she should feel like Blake is not worth it. Um, because she has so much more going for her than Blake has had. Um, since Gossip Girl, she couldn't leverage Gossip Girl. Um, and yeah, I don't think she needs any of the stuff, any of the drama, as people call it. But yeah, I'm happy for her. I don't know why I can't really feel like I can understand what she's going through. I think, well, probably most of us can't because we're not singer-songwriters and we're not that big. So, yeah, but yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence. And that was like the little bit that just started. Maybe it was Ashley Brianna Eve, because I was watching some of her things. I was watching the human design video that she did, and I was like, I pulled up my human design schema thing or chart, whatever. I'm like, I have no idea where to start with this. I couldn't even follow what she was saying about Justin's and Blake's. I'm like, cool. Yeah. Side note to that, though, you have like human schemas or design, you have astrology, you have these things. And dare I say, and don't, I feel like Angel, you might, you might come at me for this. But I feel like there's a lot more to, this is going to sound really weird at first, but stay with me, to like human breeds than this is sounding so weird without context, than what day you were born and what time and what city and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of lost touch with spirituality, but I've gotten it back a little bit, but still not that much. Because I was noticing with Odette, my dog, that she has very specific traits to linked to, she's a half poodle, half Australian shepherd, and she has very distinct traits that are Australian shepherdy and shepherd like dog stuff. And it made me think on a walk the other day. Not this has nothing to do with Taylor Swift, so I'll take her off. And it made me think of that because, like, when I've learned about ADHD, I learned that ADHD is really not a mutation, not an evolution. What do you call that? An adaptive state, an adaptive way, genetic adapt. Oh my gosh, why can't I speak? Your genes adapted for a specific thing that helped you survive. And ADHD, what I learned, and this might be, disproven or in the future disproven or whatever, but my understanding was that you could also look at it that hunters back in the day had this trait of that we now call ADHD because they had to be more alert to the slightest movement because they needed to catch their prey and eat, and the whole village needed to eat, or community or whatever. And other people like farmers or gatherers or whatever, they needed, well, gatherers, you might argue, are also ADHD because they're like, spotting the berry or whatever. But farmers need patience. Patience ADHDs don't have. At least I don't. And so, and like this calm and stuff that, I mean, so that's what I mean by breeds of human. I don't mean race. I don't mean even ethnicity or like where you're born into the world. I mean like what genetic lineage you went down, what path you have. And so, yeah, like autism, but not just like things like this, but, these are the ones that come to mind. But I mean, color of the skin is also something because, like in the north, if you have dark skin, you're in big trouble because you have barely any sunlight. And then if you're in like the middle of the earth and you have light skin, well, bye bye, because you burn, you have, although there's like skin cancer related also with darker skin. But like you have so much more protection in general. I mean, it makes sense, right? So that's what I mean by like breeds of human. It's like our genetic predispositions, why we have the genes that we have. I think a lot more into that. And it's not like, oh, science versus astrology. No, I think they can coexist, whatever. And same with religion. It's not about like, oh, it's either or. I just feel like in terms of like human design and like whatever, and maybe they're like speaking to, obviously they're speaking to different things. Anyways, I digress kind of, but my next point here was, did Blake leak the Taylor Swift personal info? That's where all of this this conversation that I just went on with myself started, as a warning shot. I think that Brianna has a really darn good eye for this article. So if you haven't seen it, Ashley Brianna Eve. Why did I call her Brianna? What's BTS? Oh, I just finished the shoot and there is no privacy. It's going to be crazy when BTS footage is released. Wait, related to this or just like your own thing? BTS is behind the scenes, Maria. Um, okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm curious what project or what you're kind of talking about, Angel. So this article was on May 4th, 2025. I don't know where she found that this was originally in the Daily Mail, because I don't see that. But anyways, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are. This is May 4th, and I remember she said something, I forget now, but Ashley kind of, Ashley Brianna, she went down the, like the subpoena or the counter subpoena, all these things were like a week later or not even just a few days later. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are taking a much needed break from their busy careers, while the singer is resting after performing 149 shows for her Eras tour, which is pretty crazy. The athlete is also enjoying his break during the off season of the National Football League. It looks like the couple is burning calories not by hitting the gym, but by working out together at home, just as other young couples in love. This is a quote. Just as other young couples in love. For the love story, singer Travis is the most romantic person as he's focused on making her feel comfortable. The couple has also stopped going out for breakfast. Sorry, just check like, am I on the same thing? And now cook meals at home. Did they ever go out for breakfast? This is kind of weird. And sorry about, oh darn, this internet. My little brother is taking all the bandwidth with not streaming, just playing games. Okay. Speaking about their relationship, a source close to the couple told a source close to the couple. That's another little key point. Told Daily Mail. Oh, okay, that's where she found it. They get their own workouts in together, just as other young couples in love do. She finds him the most romantic man she has ever been with, and he is all about making her comfortable. Kelce gives her massages and has had to learn how to. And this is to me. This was like, oh, we know who said that. How to not use even half of his strength, but she likes the fact that he is like a big brawny guy. Wait, no, it wasn't that. She's big on breakfast, which generally consists of yogurt and eggs. What is this? Why is this so pushed? What, like, like I understand if it's like something like really cool, like, oh, she likes a quiche or whatever. But like, why does it need to? This is so stupid. It sounds so stupid. This is what I'm saying. Sorry, trying to get internet back here. Um, she loves her latte in the morning. Taylor does not have a cook and she enjoys eating good food, which she cooks herself. She is always trying new recipes. The morning is the best. Where was that thing? Everything she sees, hears, breathes, and experiences gives her insight for new material. She is inspired by literally everything. Oftentimes throughout her day, she will feel a beat or lyric. This is so stupid. To anyone who's had any idea of a songwriter or knows like Taylor Swift, like as far as not like personally, but as a creator, this is just so stupid. Like of course, this is just like artist 101, especially songwriter. She has an in-home studio which she knows whatever. I don't remember. Oh, darn it. I don't remember. I think it was that, though. Maybe it sounded differently.
Spring is
Oh my
vastly
gosh.
approaching.
Shush. Don't care about anything that you have to sell anyone. Darn it. Yeah. Oh, what was it? I think I just maybe heard it like at that time, and now I don't know what I had heard, if that makes sense. Let me pull up Ashley's video to see if I can remember, because yeah, hold on, sorry.
In that in a negative way, but like the go in line with her brand a bit of the every woman personal branding that she uses. It just watched Game of Thrones. Ryan watches it. I don't doubt Ryan does. See, I agree, Ellie, what she knows all the inner workings of. No doubt about that. Adds the insider. They keep going. In her free time, the source mentioned that Taylor Swift likes to spend time on fun apps like Sing Along. I don't even know what that is, and laughs when she comes across her own songs. She also enjoys selecting her outfits and gets excited after finding good deals while shopping, but she's never. When it comes to dinner, Taylor usually enjoys getting dressed up and going out with a glass of wine with her meals, but only if it's suitable with the food she's eating. They like cooking together, and the athlete believes Taylor is a great cook. So it was originally broken by the Daily Mail by working out together at home. Right off the bat, it's like that is nail that they get their workouts in together just as any other young couple in love does. She finds him the most massages and has had to learn how to not use. This is so.
Oh yeah. That's what I thought. I thought this was okay. Sorry, all this time to because remember when um, Blake, I guess Blake's team said, or sorry, a source said to, I think, People or something, that they're not friends. That's what it just like it. I guess it sounded a lot more when she was speaking it out loud, a lot more like that than when I wrote it or read it. Maybe I just like second guess myself as far as that he has had to learn how to not use even half of his strength. Like it, it's like kind of that weird, not double negative, but like just weird phrasing. It just feels like pattern wise, it feels the same. But yeah, I mean, who else would have said something like this? Who else? Like maybe someone on Travis's side, friend that he confided in or something, that, oh, let me, speak to the Daily Mail. I don't think that Taylor said this. There's just really no point in saying this. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'm just not seeing it, but it does seem like what, it's alleged that Blake and or someone on her side leaked this as a warning to Taylor. Hey, this is a taste of what's to come if you don't back off. If you, you know, don't fight that subpoena that you were just given. So yeah, I think I agree with Ashley, Brianna, that it probably was. It seems like, allegedly, it seems like, I don't even know what to say more, that it was a warning shot based on what we know now. So anyway, so that's like one of the big Blake stories. Um, and I don't remember who said this. It was, again, I don't remember. Someone talked about, I think maybe Andy and Popcorn Planet, because I have a thing here that talks about how Taylor Swift is desperate to move on, and she does not want to keep dealing with it, and just is kind of distancing herself and just doesn't want anything to do with it. And to me, I was like, so you're telling me that Taylor Swift is going dark? I mean, it's not like she hasn't before, but she has to go dark. Everyone around Blake Lively has to like hide, to not be asked questions, to not, because I think someone was alluding to her not showing up at the AMAs because of not wanting to be asked questions. I don't think she showed. I think no one showed at the AMAs, so why would Taylor Swift show at the AMAs? Had zero reason, and she's like busy getting her recordings back, so she doesn't need the AMAs. But I don't think that's the case. However, I think it is the case that many people are shying away from any red carpets or events or interviews, or maybe are telling interviewers, hey, you cannot ask this question or whatever. Um, and yet Blake Lively is just shining and showing up everywhere and releasing a hair mist and this and that and whatever. Um, I just feel, I would feel like I just couldn't deal with that personally. Emotionally, I could not handle that. To do what Blake is doing. I just could not handle it. Like my psyche, my whatever, I could not have that conscience of like going out and promoting and being happy and promoting things left and right while everyone else wants to like hide under a rock because they're associated with me and they don't want to be asked questions and be dragged into this, and I'm causing that because I'm probably not allowing them to answer any questions that they would be asked, or telling them, hey, don't answer, whatever. So yeah, I said, isn't that something that Blake is shining brighter than ever, and even Taylor Swift, everyone else is just hiding, hiding, hiding. And then Kirsty had a video, and I don't have it here, but she had a video where she talked about, I think it was Kirsty. Sorry, I'm like not on the toppest of my top game right now. But she had, I think, a video where she talked about how Blake Lively's lawyer legal team, or the team's um not company, firm, is supporting Donald Trump in something. And to she was like, oh, isn't that something, because she's all talking about all this progressive stuff. And I'm like, I'm not surprised. I've been saying for so much of these lives that she is very much like the female Hollywood Donald Trump, like how she seems to be handling everything and stuff. So yeah, let's see. I don't think she said any of it. You mean Taylor Swift? You don't think that Taylor Swift said anything? An Angel, I'm still confused, Angel, that is it two different things? Because yeah, it is going to be crazy when BTS footage of It Ends With Us is released, if ever. Um, okay, so this is Kevin Costner. Is it Kevin Costner? Yeah, Kevin Costner. I think that's also interesting that no, I don't think it was this one that is happening. And I also think of uh kind of again what Blake did to hurt victims, in the future. So yeah. Gosh darn it, I can't find it. Anyways, but yeah, so something with like Trump and supporting and blah blah blah. I don't know. I've been so not watching any of these lately. I mean, obviously I watched them, but like yeah, it's just been it's been actually, it's not been a bad week. It's just been I think, I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't even remember. Um oh, and then she talked about this, Elise Dorsey's. So the amicus brief, one of them was from this Elise Dorsey, and the way that it went for her, she was in an 11-year relationship with this guy. They were both married, and I think he was her boss, or just they were both professors. I don't know. I think I remember her saying that it was her boss, and things I guess didn't go right or whatever, and she ended up suing and accusing him of SH, and they ended up settling the suit or whatever, where she ended up having to pay him. Would you want that person even if that's like true, but like that she was, because I mean, 11 years though, it's a lot, but I can also imagine that things that you wake up and you're like, hold up, I was not really thinking straight for these 11 years. Is quite a long time to not think straight, but I let's go with that. I can imagine that being the case. So I'm not saying that but she ended up having to pay him. So the law kind of saw it another way. Now, it doesn't mean that she doesn't have a case and she wasn't in the right and he wasn't in the wrong. uh, but so far, what we have as information is not looking great. So, would you want this person to be your advocate? Which also they asked two lawyers. I was watching, well, it was only one lawyer today, but I was watching that just a little while ago, and how Brian Freeman brought up that the amicus briefs or whatever, amicus whatever, those are not just to like be like in support of someone and to go against the opposition. They're very specific to what they are to be done for and created for, whatever. And so I don't think I mean, it seems like they do have a good case against taking that out. um, but still, would you want this person to be a voice of support that people can dig into and find this stuff? That, again, like I keep hearing that it's not about credibility. I feel like it has to be about credibility in any kind of court case, because if you're not credible, if your witness isn't credible, if your uh, friend amicus isn't credible, if you are incredible, like, I mean, if you're found that you are constantly lying or embellishing things or just not a reliable person, then how is that not relevant to anything? So I don't know. It doesn't sound great. And speaking of the three lawyers, so the amicus briefs, um, the premature, Friedman said basically the biggest positives potentially for Friedman is that they were, well, they were both premature and too late, because they were supposed to be filed close to when Blake Lively filed her original complaint or lawsuit, but then they were all of a message of support or whatever when nothing's been decided and everything's kind of, it's not really gone to trial. That's more, I think they were saying, alluding like this is more when you call this kind of person to the stand if you want, to prove a point or something, but not for this amicus brief kind of situation. And then that they said Blake's law team is competent, so why is this needed if that's the case? And then also that these amicus things are supposed to be objective and dispassionate, and hers was not. It was very passionate and not objective at all. It was very, very like too close. Like she was very emotional writing that, or her team. It came from very much a place of emotion, and I had mentioned that it seems like a public stunt. So let's see what Judge Lyman. Again, I don't think Judge Lyman is biased or was whatever unfair with the Freeman thing, but I will say that if he doesn't take that into serious consideration for this, it might seem like he's a little bit unfair, or swayed a little bit. But I don't know. He's a human. Um, but I would say that like it's kind of easy to see that this amicus thing was not for the judge. I don't know, especially with her, with Dorsey, Elise Dorsey. It just seemed very much like a publicity stunt. And then, oh, and it's not meant to be adversarial. It's meant to be helpful. So it's not about like, hey, like talk back, file this just to oppose the opposition. And then, oh, excuse me, another video of theirs this week was talking about 47.1. I just like the thought of, we all will say 47.1 just casually in conversations now. We know it so well, although last week I didn't, or Tuesday, I didn't remember the number. I said 46, because 46, there's something with 46. But we'll know it so well now that it's going to be, I don't know, it feels like really cool that we know this other piece of information. I am someone who loves learning so much, as you can tell. So growth and evolution are my jam. But yeah, so 47.1 was established in 2023, or signed into law in 2023, and took effect January 1st, 2024. And for a second, I was like, did Blake wait for this law? But then January 2024, she already had, this was about to happen. Could be, she could have conferred with her lawyers, and they said, hey, this law might be passed or is passing or whatever. And so, maybe that's why she suddenly popped up with those that list of things, like, oh, great, we have something that we can use against him. So it could be like that. But yeah, it's going to be definitely interesting what will happen with that loss. And that's kind of all I have for Blake. Yeah, that's crazy too. Sorry, I was talking about it, and it ends with us. Okay, yeah. Can you hear me? Anyone else can maybe not hear me? I know my internet goes in and out. I am recording, and I might have to do this recording, just like put it all in recording form in the last one too. Let me know, or let Maria know if you can't hear me. Just answer a question. If you can't hear me, let me know if you can. As I am about to go into, well, these other things, two little things, and then Sinners. Oh, I'm so excited to talk about Sinners, and I hate that there's this internet issue. It's you, Maria. That sounded a little too harsh, but yeah. Oh. All right. So I'll leave that up. I'll go to this. This was interesting. I don't know what to think about this, actually. So but it was like really interesting to see. I don't think I've ever watched this channel. I might start watching it. But it was interesting to see. To be honest, I didn't really listen or watch this whole thing. I just watched this part of it. But still, to hear how a lawyer talks. And what was interesting about it was
when he actually interacted,
was how, I forget which lawyer said this. Not actually Golden, or asked two lawyers, or Omar, I don't know, the tilted lawyer, I don't know. But someone was saying that when the depositions will happen, if it gets to that point, which who knows at this point, whoever deposes Blake will go like minute by minute. And it made me think of that, how this person's doing it. Well, that was a wrong moment. Bad timing on my part.
now you see him, he's walking to the pharmacy section. This is the pharmacy section. And now this is when he actually interacts for the first time with Miss Miller. So that's Miss Miller in the cart, in the scooter. The first time that they've met, and they're talking about the Tylenol. And so the gentleman, you can see a gentleman in an orange shirt behind them. That's the gentleman I was talking about. That's the witness. His name is Mr. Leva.
All right.
He's the one that later assists.
All right.
And witnessed the whole thing.
Do any of you know about this case? I kind of heard about it before, like just in the past couple of weeks, but that's...
So this is the other view, so you can see how close Mr. Leva is. And behind this display cart is that's when you can see the beginning of Miss Miller's cart. So the incident, the alleged incident is happening now. Here's the other view of it, flipping back, so you can see both views. That's the alleged...
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrer.
I've never seen Dragon Ball Z, but when I get to that moment, that frustration moment, that's what I imagine. I imagine myself as. I imagine that I forget the guy's name, but the mean guy with the just the hair going on fire or whatever, just gosh, that or Frankenstein or whoever has the steam out of its ears, but more the fire. But yeah, anyway, so it was really interesting. What is going on in today's world where we can't have better recordings, better security footage? Because it's really, really hard to see the actual interaction. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, this internet is just really just freaking getting to me. Saw a short on my feed. Yeah, that's kind of what I think I did at one point. Sorry, it was my earpod died. I love those moments. Yeah, I've been there. But anyway, so I thought that was this is really interesting. He got parole, I think, after this, or bond or whatever. Gosh, this is how little I know about all of this. But yeah, he is, I think, out of being in jail for now, but the trial is still happening, I think. I don't know. At least this was, I guess, 3 weeks ago. But I think the parole part just happened more recently. But yeah, so this was my other piece of news. I thought it was pretty cool. And then this other piece of news, I didn't know who he was, and I don't know. For some reason, I assumed this was the president of Harvard. This is how easy it is to not pay attention and get things really wrong when you're just skimming through things. You're just hearing the sound bites and all this stuff. So I wanted to play this particular part, especially just the introduction. This was a really beautiful speech.
CBS journalist and news anchor whose honest and uncompromising approach to reporting has shaped the public's understanding of major events and elevated the credibility of broadcast journalism. For over 3 decades as a trusted voice for CBS, Mr. Pelley distinguished himself as a war correspondent in Ukraine, the Middle East, and Sudan, as CBS chief White House correspondent, and as the anchor and editor of the CBS Evening News. He is also the most highly awarded 60 Minutes correspondent in the history of the iconic program. Journalistic integrity is paramount to Mr. Pelley, and his reputation for professionalism, accuracy, and unflinching honesty has facilitated face-to-face conversations with prominent newsmakers and leading voices of our time. Among his most notable subjects are Pope Francis, Jane Goodall, the Sandy Hook families, and world leaders, including 5 U.S. presidents and Ukraine President Zelensky. For his groundbreaking interviews and investigative reporting, he has been awarded 51 Emmy Awards, 4 Alfred I. DuPont Columbia Silver Batons, and 3 Peabody Awards. Mr. Pelley is a gifted storyteller who can humanize any event, and some of his most riveting narratives are about everyday people. According to Mr. Pelley, the people are the story. In his 2019 book, Truth Worth Telling, he profiles famous and not so famous individuals who discover meaning in their lives when they experience a historical event.
That's a pretty cool human being. That's a lot. I just had one of those moments of, what am I doing with my life kind of thing, you know? I wanted to do so much and I wasted so much time. That's a pretty cool human being that I would love to be one day. And it's like a caution moment that if I don't know, if you're like me at least, if we don't do something about that, like we will not get to that point. I don't know. I'm definitely scared that I will be a waste of space like I have been so far.
Mr. Pelly shares his own pivotal moment when he reported from the World Trade Center on 9/11 as the North Tower collapsed. Truth Worth Telling is an insightful memoir that explores the impact of values and courage, reminding us of the importance of free speech and free press in a democratic society. For modeling pro humanitate values in his intentional efforts to humanize historic events, for inspiring future generations of journalists.
Word of warning.
Why is
Of course, ad. YouTube, stop showing me ads. I've not bought one single
did it
thing
with
off
no
of your
inventory?
ads. Just saying.
I was reporting a story for 60 Minutes not long ago on the Webb Space Telescope, and I had a young astronomer, and I asked her, I said, so what took you into astronomy? And she said, well, you spoke at my college graduation. And she went on and she said, I was sitting there, I was graduating with a perfectly sensible degree, but as I heard you speak, I realized my love was astronomy. I re-enrolled, I have a PhD in astronomy, and now I work on the Webb Space Telescope. So, if there is anyone here today who does not want to be an astronomer, this is the time to space out.
Sorry, I had to include that. That was like the funnest part. I had 2 commencement speeches. I don't know, I had 2 of these in my life so far, and both times I'm like, this is so inspirational, this is making me cry, and also crap how much I am not doing what I should be doing, and I'm doing degrees that I have no reason to be doing those degrees, you know, just chickening out to doing the real stuff. I don't know if I
Choose
can
their
get
time
to
of calling.
the point.
The class of 1941 did not choose. The class of 1968 did not choose. History chose them. And now history is calling you, the class of 2025. You may not feel prepared, but you are. You are not descended of fearful people. You brought your values to school with you, and now Wake Forest has trained you to seek the truth, to find the meaning of life. Let me tell you about 3 people, briefly.
Yeah, well, it was a very powerful speech. I am kind of getting lost in it because I saw this earlier on, and I didn't map it out like I usually do with the timestamps. But yeah, he definitely called out the current situations badly, very straightforwardly. I do wonder if the reason that Harvard didn't say anything political in their graduation might be because of the ongoing legal battle, because of, things like that. I don't know. So, but yeah, he's not part of this university. He's just a speaker and an honorary degree recipient or whatever they do here. Which to me is kind of cool, but also kind of okay. But yeah, anyways. And the last bit of story before getting into sinners, there was a story about the Trump brothers talking about Bitcoin and all this stuff, and there was a phrase about one of them saying getting in on the ground for Bitcoin, You know, otherwise you miss it and miss the opportune point. And I'm like, it's been happening for however many years. This is not ground level for Bitcoin. It was, it blew up and then it went back down. So I don't think that I would call that this is the moment, that this is when you want to get in on it. So I just thought that was funny. I don't know. That's just me, probably. All right. So now I can put up the poster. Sinners. So I ended up watching this. I know, Maria, you had told me Karate Kid. And I do and will see that, and I think I will enjoy it a lot more. I don't know that I could say I didn't enjoy this movie. I just was really bored, and there were moments of frustration because I could not hear what they were saying. I don't think it's just like theater, my specific theater, but I think it was like because it was Cinemark, it's just like a big theater. But I think it was the sound design and maybe theaters in general, because I could hear the surround sound part so well, but the speech was only coming from the front. And that just bothered me because I'm like, because a lot of times, not a lot, but sometimes they were muffled speaking and I could not understand. So yeah, also combined with the accent, the southern accent, I was like, okay, this is where are the closed captions? Can I get those like Meta glasses? I don't like Meta. I don't want anything to do with it. But can I get like Google glasses? I don't even know who's like safe to get. But glasses that you can choose, like, can you just put subtitles up for me? Thank you. But that was like, yeah. So, what did I expect? Because a huge part of my issue with this movie was that my expectations were not met. What did I expect? I expected, based on the trailer only, I expected this to be honestly around a lot more centered around music than it was. And then it's prefaced to be, and then it tries to seem like it is. Because even the ending has a music scene and it has the connection of music, but really, it's not really there. It felt like a lot of this movie was disjointed. It was a bunch of ideas put into one, like kind of like stew, where you just put a bunch of like different ingredients, different vegetables, and then maybe they're not cooked all the way. So it's not really marinated, and it's like a full, holistic meal, but you can taste like, oh, this is a potato time. You know, I'm eating potato right now, and I'm eating peas right now, and whatever. They're not like, they've not seeped into each other. I don't know. That was just like my thing, I think. I expected the music to open the portals, to close it, to do something, to have meaning. Because again, that's what the trailer told me. I expected these demons or vampires, which I guess they're vampires. I expected those to come through from the music and all the stuff, but it didn't. The one vampire, because it's really just, it starts with one. There's like Native American Indians chasing him, but then that story never went anywhere. They just kind of disappear. They come and go. It was weird. See, like it just felt unfinished. It felt like it was maybe better as a TV show, because it felt like it had these like bits and pieces, but they were not really expanded upon enough for them to like be lived out fully. But yeah, so this vampire, um, he says that he came because he heard the guy sing or play or whatever. But that's kind of it. And also, like, he didn't really come to begin with because of that. It was before he heard him sing. And then, yeah, I don't know. I expected it to be, I guess it was historical and cultural enough. Yeah, I don't know. I expected more meaning to it, more soul to it, which is kind of ironic to talk about because it was like soul music. But Was it soul? Blues. I call it kind of soul because it's like from the soul, that kind of like singing. Oh, I love that. But anyways, so that was like my expectation. What I got was boredom. No, just kidding. But what I got was only one scene that was moving, and only one scene that I would say was really the musical scene that was like really meaningful to the theme, the idea, the purpose of it. There were other musical numbers. I think there were two or just one. The one woman sings, but I want to say there was another one too. But that was it. And those, I will say I'll say one thing. The way that the music was merged with the action, it was like a musical choreography happening. It was really beautiful. And it made me think of, someone said this about It Ends With Us, that they lacked a musical score, and adding all of these bunch of pop songs, more or less, with lyrics, took away from the impact of the emotion that it would have had otherwise. And I will say this movie proves that point really well. There was one scene with, I think it was Smoke. There's Smoke and Stack. I don't remember which one's which, honestly. I don't know. But one was with Haley Steinfeld's character, and the other was with an actress I don't know yet. I don't know. Let me actually look that up. Hold on. Because I have Google right in front of me, so why would I be lazy? And Wunmi Mosaku, I think that's how you pronounce her name. So the one with her, I think it was Smoke, because I think Stack was with Haley. Anyways, that version of Michael B. Jordan. Also, I don't think I've seen him anything besides the first Black Panther. I don't think I've seen him in any movie. But he was really good, and I'm like, I appreciate the actor in him. He is really good. He does his job. But yeah, so there was a scene when we were in her shop and Wunmi's character's shop. What's her character's name? Annie. And I think it was when she lit this match like 3 times, and the instruments of the score go with it. I forget what instrument it was. I would guess it was a string instrument, I think, more than likely. And I was like, that was the moment where I was like, oh my gosh, that comment that one person said about It Ends With Us not having a score and missing the emotional depth to it as a result, this one is here. It wasn't like the most meaningful emotional moment in this movie, this match striking. I mean, it kind of was, um but it still had that. It stood out to me. So that was like one thing. But yeah, the only scene was Sammy singing the one time, that's also in the trailer, and the fire. There's like, I didn't expect this, because in the trailer, this is a guy, I don't know, that's a spoiler, but in the trailer I didn't catch this, so it might be a spoiler. If you want to listen away, look away for like, I don't know, 30 seconds. But while he was singing, it wasn't just the past that came through, it was also the future. And I will say that kind of took me out of the movie, because I thought, great idea, but it feels ridiculous. Like, I appreciate the idea of it, but it felt really, just sat ridiculous to me. It sat like too much of a caricature, kind of. So yeah, but that was like the big moment, and that's what I expected to have more, not just one song in the whole movie, and not just one moment. And I guess another quasi spoiler, at the end, for one, I didn't understand what Sammy said as to why he will keep singing or playing or keeping his guitar. I don't remember. He said something, but I didn't hear it. Thanks, audio. Um, but it might have also been, like I said, well, ironically, had the lower register voice, the actor. What's his name? Hold on, because he's new. Um, Miles Caden. So he had a very low voice, but I kind of understood him more times, like, yeah, more of the time than Michael B. Jordan's characters. Um, but yeah, either way, like maybe it was just that frequency that I couldn't capture. I don't know, but or the sound system was not the best of. But yeah, I think that's like one of the most important pieces to this that I couldn't hear. So I think that was also part of why I didn't enjoy this movie that much. So I couldn't tell you, even if I wanted to spoil it for you, I couldn't tell you why he chose the music and all that stuff. And I feel like that's a pretty big point. I would that I talk about this a little later. Sorry, about whether you should see it in person or not. Ooh, I feel the muscle. I went to Pilates and I've been doing little arm muscle workouts and I feel the muscle. Um, so yeah. Oh, and then I talk about that. Not only the one, not the only one who sang and performed, but that was like the main one. I will say also that the rhythms work together so well from the action and the singing. There's this other person that sings, the woman that's singing, excuse me. And when she's singing, an action sequence is happening, some fighting or whatever. And again, the score, even though she's singing with words, but the score of it was created for this movie, and you can tell it was created for what was happening. And different instruments and different notes and different things were hitting at the right times to amplify the actual hits and whatevers that were happening with the action. So I will give it that. That was really great. Um, but yeah, as far as like what I got, sorry, I started going into what I liked about it. What I got was a regular movie though. At the end of the day, well shot, beautiful cinematography, beautiful colors, and beautiful people. No one really looked bad, but all over the place at the same time, and underwhelming to me. Maybe I just went in with bigger expectations or just different expectations. And then also, maybe because I was by myself in the movie theater, that I know with A Nice Indian Boy, I mean, one, it moved me because of the story, because of the message, because it touched the heart. Um, but I also think that part of it moved me because I felt the energy of the other people, and there were not that many other people. For this, I was completely alone, and I was at first I was like, "What did I get myself into?" I am someone who does not like horror movies. Like with my one of the last things in my relationship was my ex. This is one of those moments like what this was intentional. It had to be intentional because like someone who knows you really well would not do this. But anyways, um, his brother I guess invited us to this like really horror movie, like really horror movie, like really scary horror movie. Just even the trailer or the poster scarred me. So, so I'm like I can't go to that. You know, people, I would be like, oh, can we see another movie? Because she doesn't like scary movies. It's not even that I don't like scary movies, and I know Maria, like, you like your horror or not horror or just like what's the podcasting thing, but true crime or whatever. But yeah, for me, like really, like I feel it, I live it, I am in there. So much so that before this movie, there were a number of horror movie trailers, and I was freaking out. I was by myself in this theater. I because of the and this is kind of a repeat too from the video that I had shared, because of these chairs that recline. There's like space between you and the wall, and I was at the top, which I will never do again because at the top there's even more space and stuff. So I was freaking out so much that someone was behind, that some spirit was conjured, something was happening. I don't even remember the horror movies that were trailered, but before the movie started, I was freaked out because I freaking live it. I live it. Whatever you like show me, I'm going to put myself in there because otherwise, what's the point? What's the point? That's what movies are. You're like submerging yourself in that world. You're not even playing make believe because you're watching it, but you're in there. That's the whole point. The suspension of disbelief that theater talks about, but with movies so much too. Hi P, welcome. And so yeah, so it's not that, oh, she just doesn't like them, whatever. It's not like, oh, political thrillers or whatever. It's like actual like trauma that you would put me through. So I would imagine that someone, would be like, hey, like, person I care for would be scarred by this. So let's include her and watch something else. But that didn't happen. Anyways, this movie, however, Sinners, I would say that it wasn't scary. It had more than one jump or a couple of jump scares at the beginning. It had more in the beginning than I was told, and also more later on. But you could kind of anticipate it. It was like the suspension build of the music, of the score, and also just the scene creation of it. So I put my hands over the ears and just kind of not hummed, because then that became creepy and scary. Hi Arnaldo too. But I kind of try to tune it out because sound is to me more than half of the scare. Like there's this I think The Last of Us was the video game that my ex showed me at one point, and just he had surround sound speakers, and there were like zombies, and just that sound of the zombies was not only scary but just literally grossing me out, and I just wanted to jump out of my skin. So cannot play something like that. But yeah, anyways, so outside of that, no, it wasn't that scary. It was like vampires. I don't know. I watched True Blood, and yeah, I mean it was well done. So I guess they are scary, but like it wasn't something that I couldn't handle. So probably most people could handle that are very scared usually. So I will give my TikTokers that all recommend. I mean, I don't even know how many comments on my TikTok that I have that were like, hands down Sinners. It's not even a question, blah, blah. Again, I don't really know what these people, why. Some people saw it. I have 52 comments. I mean, I know to many people that's like nothing, but I have 52 comments on yeah, this one person. I love how this is pretty much unanimous. Yeah, no kidding. Every single person of these 52 people said Sinners. And people saw it 8 times, 3 times. They hadn't gone to the movies in a long time. So that also factors in, I think, into people liking this movie. If it's the first movie that you see in theaters, and especially if you see it with a crowd, and some people will like the full crowd, some people will feel like, whoa, too much after COVID. But definitely not alone. Then you might enjoy it a little bit more. It might wow you more. This wasn't the first movie that I've seen this year, and it's not that I've seen better. I mean, I feel like the cinematography again was just so good. But story-wise, it didn't move me much. And it might be because I missed a bunch of things because I couldn't hear what they were saying. It might, but it wasn't that much that I couldn't hear, that I couldn't understand. It was like maybe 10% that I couldn't understand. So it's not that much that would make a huge difference. Maybe because, I'm just, I love filmmaking and I want to be a filmmaker, but recently I met with another aspiring filmmaker, and we're talking about the difference between me and this friend that we did like a bunch of the 48-hour film projects together, and how there are filmmakers that really are so much into the filmmaking stuff that they will appreciate. It's like Zane Lowe for music. Like when he speaks about an album or a song that someone wrote, it's like the biggest thing. It's just amazing. It just blows his mind, and then has that effect on anyone who listens to him talk about it. So there are these movie people that really like know so much about film. They've studied it so much and they love studying it so much that they will find like, oh my gosh, they did this, they did that. My closest experience to that was Red One. And it wasn't because it was, oh, they pulled from that historical thing, because I don't think there was any. Well, no, they did. Anyways, but it wasn't about those things. It was about just being amazed at the creativity that was in this movie that I couldn't even think of and I hadn't seen ever before, especially in a Christmas movie. And it was so well done and taken so seriously that it wasn't like a joke, kind of like many Christmas movies were. But that was the closest thing I've come. I'm a filmmaker that just is like heart to heart connection filmmaking, where I just want to touch someone's heart with my movie or make them think. I'm not very much into like Easter eggs and details. I mean, I love that too, but like not like so much as in like a filmmaker way, because I was listening to people reviewing this movie and I'm like, okay, I get how certain people will feel like, whoa, like he did this and he used this lens and this light and these colors and all this stuff. And though sometimes I can appreciate that, I didn't really understand those here. And it's not my first go-to. When I go to, or, watch a movie here, I think the primary one for me, it's kind of like when people are attracted to people. Some people are attracted to people's bodies. I'm attracted to people's faces and minds. Like, but like just physical attraction alone, it's people's faces. If their face is good looking, they're good looking. It doesn't matter so much about the body. So that's kind of like how another analogy to like um different reviews of a movie or different takes on a movie. Yeah. So yeah, ironically, again, the vessel of this message that this movie had, that I don't know it, was beautiful. It was really well executed, so well executed. I feel like the message I didn't get, and maybe that's just me, I didn't get it. It felt to me like it was a very male created, male mind type of message. Another thing that I kind of had as a criticism or whatever, I don't know if I want to say criticism per se, but I didn't really put this into these exact words at first. I didn't even think about it. But when I said that to this new friend, she's like, oh, I get it. Like, the women are, not really, there are not that many women or whatever. I'm like, no, there were women, but like characters. I don't know so much about the crew, but there were women characters. But I feel like the women characters were supporting characters. They were not fleshed out. They were actually fleshed out, kind of, but like they were. If they weren't there, it would probably be the same movie. Is kind of the thing. And although I'm not here as someone who's like, oh, feminism and women in film and all this stuff, it was noticeable for this one. I don't know. I felt like why bother having these women? Like there was really no point to these women being there outside of just a few moments, but they were afterthoughts. yeah, so that was like really uncomfortable looking back. But when I was watching it, because we're so used to seeing that, like I didn't really catch that. Um, so yeah, I mean, there was like, yeah, like they had meaning, but it, I think just biased wise, like people wouldn't even catch, the filmmakers probably didn't even catch that they did really, it was about three guys. It was about Sammy and it was about the twins that Michael B. Jordan did. And really, not even that. It reminded me, and I said this in the video that I did. Last year, I was at this birthday and I was talking to this filmmaker, and he was really passionate about this idea, and I don't remember the idea, but basically the gist of it, what I remember was like basically it was an idea like man versus the wild being like the ultimate struggle for a man or for a person. And I think he started saying like for a man, and then he switched to a person. I'm like, no, no, it's not for a person. I think it's just for the man, and I think it's for more gambling. Good luck or whatever you say. Um, I think it's what men think life is about, kind of thing. Um, I don't know how to explain this, but and we women have our own thing. I'm new to, I didn't even think about this that deeply so far, so I'm new to this. But when I watched this is kind of what made me think of that kind of the ultimate issue or the ultimate battle for a man, for a person, whatever, is this, that kind of messaging. And yet, like, it's what we think it is, but it's not what it is. It doesn't feel very deep. It feels more like surface level. And that's like, at least to me, what this movie kind of felt like. It was, yes, it had very good cultural context to it and had brought in, things that maybe we haven't seen that much or at all in some cases on the big screen, in that sense. But like, was, in my opinion, not well executed, just because if someone that isn't familiar with filmmaking and isn't like a film buff and um knows about these like ways these men try to state ideas and existential ideas, then if like just you and me, simple people, so to speak, don't get it, then it's not like, if it's for the masses, it should be for the masses. It should be, maybe again, might be because it was trying to be too many things in too short of a time. And what else did I say here? Yeah, maybe it was too short. It cut corners. I do feel it, or at this point, it felt like so much was missing. So much was cut short. So many ideas and so forth. The one screen reviewer or whatever, movie reviewer, was talking about how the theme of this was breaking free and creating your own path versus taking the common path, and how vampires represent the common path, the staying the same, etc. And then Sammy, I guess, or whatever, representing the other path. This is where I'm like, I feel like like it's a stretch, like you're trying too hard to explain the movie. And then yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful message. It's a great idea. I just don't feel like it came across that much. But maybe this is just my opinion. This is just my point of view. Um, yeah, initial notes that I had was or were at the beginning definitely got Red Dead Redemption 2 vibes. And then there was like this panning or this in and out of the shop sequence. I think it was Smoke, yeah, because I think Stack was red and Smoke was blue. But um, he was followed into the shop. Then there was commotion outside, and then he was followed outside of the shot, and it didn't leave. And it also gave this almost video game vibe, kind of, because you just saw the back of his head of this place to place. Um, so I thought that was like really cool. Cotton was the play that I couldn't think of when Sammy was picking cotton at the beginning and he was done before everyone else. And I've been there, like to have the passion for something and to be on your path and in your calling and in what you are, and you do what needs to be done, you know, and like earlier and faster and whatever, and then you know, go do your thing. I've had that experience a couple of times. And then that at the end, seeing Michael B. Jordan, this is kind of a spoiler, kind of, his muscle strength to like just like pop himself up on this truck and hop into it at the end. The first thought I had was, man, how do like I need to work out? How do I need to work out to like get there? I need to start. I need to like, yeah, I can't wait, whatever. And I just found that very funny because probably I would be expected to have the first thought be like, oh, I want a man like that. And my first thought was like, I want to be that. But it wasn't I want to be my own man. It was like I just want to be strong. I just want to like not be in pain and to like it must be so cool to have that ability to just like be that strong. I don't know. So yeah, I don't want his muscles though on my body, and I don't really want a muscle that those muscles on my partner's body. So yeah, but that was like just a funny thing. So those were my initial notes. And then I just started today, just wrote in a lot more of what I like remember and stuff. I said the female characters felt like supporting characters. It felt like a male message, like a message only men or some men can understand or value. Like man versus himself is kind of what I felt like in some way. And it was just cheesy to me. And then the TikTok comments that I had were, yeah, like I saw it 8 times. It's not really horror. My friend who hates horror saw it and saw it again the next day or something. I just don't understand that. I just don't know where these people are coming from. Yeah, I don't know. I would understand like Sing Sing would be a movie that you know I could see someone seeing more than times. The Apprentice, I've talked about it. I know it's like controversial with the person that it's about, but like it's such a beautiful movie, such an interesting movie, so much there. I guess I'm more into psychology than like whatever this was. I don't know if you could call it like cultural studies. It wasn't really. Um, and men versus men, I don't feel like that was like psychological. It was like what people think psychology is almost. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't think of like I've seen a 12 so many times. So I couldn't think of like movies that I could see so many times. Anything lately. But yeah, this movie I will see again when it comes on streaming, so I have closed captions and I can hear what they're actually saying because I'm actually really curious. I'm really curious. I can't wait to see that, to hear that. And again, it wasn't much, but the one moment that I might just like fast forward to that, it was at the end. It was the end that I, you know, wanted to hear better. Um, People say that it was sprinkled with comedy and it was musical. It had the one musical number, and a half. And then I missed the comedy. I don't think I laughed once at this movie. I don't think I laughed at all at this movie. So I missed it. And yeah, definitely an amazing score and soundtrack. Do I have regrets seeing it? No. I think it was like really cool to see it. Would I see it? Would I recommend it to see it in theaters? That's like a 50-50 for me. I think the one musical number with Sammy, to have that surround sound, if you have that at home and if you have like a big screen at home, just watch it at home. If you don't have those two things at home, then yes, I think just for that, it is a very moving moment. It is beautiful. I also got worried for the whole cast because they were dancing in around like a burning parameter of smoke. And it seemed like it wasn't, special effects. It was like visual effects. Like it was actually happening. I forget which one's which actually. It wasn't like AI or, tech. It was like real, it seemed like the smoke. So I got worried about them because they were dancing. And then, yeah, but like it was like really cool for that. And also, yeah, cinematography. I would not sit at the top to get that whole cinematography feel. I feel like, further closer to like the middle or the bottom, not all the way at the bottom, but, that bottom top half of the movie theater to get immersed. Maybe also the sound is better as well. But yeah, for those, I would say, yeah, sure, watch it in theaters. Yeah. And then I liked watching it in theaters because it was a movie that I would not otherwise watch. And let me tell you that if I watched that movie by myself here at night, I think it was better to go to the movie theater, even though, like I said, it was more boring than scary. I think it was better that I watched it in the movie theater and then came out of the movie theater and had a totally different experience because I was like moved by something else, and then I went on a completely different path. And yeah, any scary effects were gone. But yeah, so if you're prone to be scared, I would also watch it in theaters. And then not watching it in theaters, sound quality and speech. If you have like more issues understanding people, there was some video that talked about how like we have so much we have a harder time now understanding people, even like on our TV screen or iPad or laptop, because of just how like microphones have evolved and people haven't had to be very like their diction can be more like normal speech, whereas before they had to really enunciate and stuff because the microphones were so far away and not that great. And so it kind of created more lazy speaking in terms of more like normal how you would speak day to day. And from day to day that some people are more easily understood than others based on like frequency, based on so many different things. So yeah, I think if you have a hard time with that, you might consider watching it at home only. And then I don't know, like I just, it wasn't like spend your money on this for as necessary. I'm glad that it was for free basically, or included in my subscription with Fandango. Yeah, would I sit again? I already talked about that. I can see how this movie is important as far as it wasn't a mindless movie. It was a beautifully meaning movie. Like it had people that worked on it that really had purpose for it. It wasn't like, oh, Avengers, 481. Um, it really had blood, sweat, and tears into it. It really had a lot of heart into making it. I don't, again, I think the message and what it could, the potential kind of was missed, but it's still, the people worked hard on it, both on screen and off screen, and you can tell that. So I think it's important in that sense. It's important culturally. This one reviewer mentioned like various different directors that are doing movies kind of like this now that are meaningful and deep and not just cookie cutter, you know, just to blockbuster or whatever. And yeah, women and people of various ethnicities. And I think it's so beautiful and so important in that sense to bring in the culture that really only a person that, unless like you're a professor that studied their whole life and has PhDs and whatever in whatever culture, um, and even still then you might not get to that core that someone living through it and with ancestors in it has. So I think that is really important. I don't hate this movie. I don't hate it. I just felt like it was underwhelming. That's all. um, but yeah, and I mentioned like, yeah, I wonder how many people thought it was amazing because they saw it with other people in the theater. And yeah, I love the rich cultural expression, and that's kind of it that I have on this movie. I know this was like a very different live than usual, and it was very short. Look at that. Are we under 2 hours? I think we're like, yeah, we're under 2 hours right now, and I'm pretty much done. So this was a very, very quick one. Um, Comparative, relative to all the other ones. Like I said, not much Blake Lively things because I do feel like, I feel it's not our job, it's not our responsibility to be in this fight where, I think it is kind of helpful to remind ourselves that we're just like curious people. We're, here, and there is like a responsibility to talk about it, to share, to critically think and share that side of things and add to those voices. But outside of that, it's the lawyers that need to fight with each other. It's all of the parties that need to like deal with this, unfortunately, and there's not anything that we can do really at the end of the day, besides just supporting and just talking about it. But to go through every single filing, there are channels for that, and even Lauren doesn't go through every single one, I think. But between all the different channels, I'm sure you can get all the filings, and you can also watch or read a lot of those for yourself. But I just feel like a lot of these right now are not that important for us to speak about. So yeah, I just you know it's like, it's good to have the balance to not really get sucked into the rabbit hole too much. I've said this before at different places of this, because there's lulls and then highs and lows, and there'll come another whoa moment, and then we'll talk about that. And that's kind of like what entertainment is, like talking about the whoa moments. Um, and everyone gets bored at the non-whoa moments. But I don't know. I feel that that's how I want to approach this, because it's just too much otherwise. It's not, I don't know, I think it's too much. It's, mentioning the amicus briefs and mentioning things, yes, but to go really in depth on them, yeah. Ever since the pandemic, I've lost the excitement of going to the movies, or movies are not interesting enough to see. I think a little bit of both. um, I saw the first movie that I saw since the pandemic, I think, was Barbie. we saw that when it came out. I had got like tickets. I think it was the first movie since the pandemic. I'm 99% sure. And I got like, I scored like, you know, special screening kind of tickets. So it was also the event of it, you know, getting dressed up and also looking back at pictures right away, how overweight I've gotten. But yeah, and it was moving. It was moving to hear people laugh. It was moving to actually see and hear people cry during it. You got everything with that movie. And to feel the energy of people being moved one way or another for that movie. And also seeing it with my ex, at this time, my ex, it was also powerful because it was, especially that movie, was so like, I definitely had moments when I was like, oh, he probably doesn't understand this, or I wonder if he understands this. And then seeing him laugh and seeing him not cry, but just, I felt like he definitely felt some of the moments, was like really cool as well. So I think that was, a spoiled experience because it was a great experience to come back into the movies after. But then after that, I hadn't seen another movie until Red One, which again was like just blew my mind. I know probably none of you watched Red One, especially after my recommendation, especially because we're so far from Christmas. And I almost say, I almost want to say to watch it, to wait for Christmas to watch it. That was one I am so grateful we saw that in theaters. And I think also, again, just us being so amazed by it and having us experience that with what was happening, in our world that was not so great. But then having that experience was like really cool to have. There were also people in that movie theater, and not that many, but some. And I don't remember if anyone was like as like whoa as us, but we were like, we were. It felt like we were kids kind of, and I don't even remember being a kid and being that expressive and like whoa, and did you see that, and we're talking about it. Yeah, it was like really cool experience. So I was like, yeah, I feel like I was spoiled with the two movies that I saw since the pandemic. And then this year was, after that was I'm Still Here, which was a Brazilian movie. It was nominated for Oscars, and it was the only one I saw in theaters because I couldn't see it anywhere else, like anywhere else. Not on, streaming, not on the dark web parts or whatever it's called, the gray web. So I really wanted to see it, and I am so glad that I saw it. It was a beautiful movie, but it was a very serious, normal drama movie. But it was a beautiful one. I was very happy to see that, and it was very moving as far as like what could happen politically and just to human beings and what humans have experienced that so many of us haven't. And yeah. um and then I saw I saw A Nice Indian Boy, and now I saw Sinners. So it's been like weird. A Nice Indian Boy, I think it was like really cool to see in theaters, but I mean, you can see it in streaming, and you can see it now. And Fandango has like promotional codes or something to watch at home, Fandango at home or whatever it's called. So if you haven't checked it out, maybe check that out. But yeah, it was okay, but it was more, just it was a beautiful love movie, and supporting Wayfair and also supporting these artists, this like more, not like big budget movie. It was also a really cool feeling. And then yeah, Sinners, yeah, it was like so I think as a combination. I do imagine, I don't know if this is what you're talking about as far as like you lost the excitement of going to movies. I've talked with my friend about this, how like going out and going in crowds is not the same after the pandemic. And it seems like such a theme throughout for almost everyone. And yeah, like it doesn't feel the same. And I think part of it is because it's not the same. You know, there are fewer people in movie theaters. Uh, we are also in economic stress for the last couple of years at least. Prices have gone up with everything, and even if you're not thinking about it, it's still there in your subconscious that like there's, unless you're like a billionaire, millionaire, I think even people who are pretty rich feel the stress of the economic part. So it's like, why would you not just watch things on all the billions of streaming services that you're already paying for and go and pay for this other thing that you have to schedule, that you have to show up, you have to pay for things, you have to eat before, eat after, or, suffer the big prices of the movie concessions. And then if you have too many people with you in the theater, it might feel stressful. If you don't have enough people, it might feel a little like underwhelming. Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of things. I don't know if you can think of anything else, or you're just not sure what it is, but you just don't feel like excited about it. And as far as like movies being interested, yeah, I mean, it was interesting because my, it's May 30th today, I had for May this like $10 credit. Basically, it's like a ticket. And I was like, what movie to watch? And I didn't have many choices. It was Karate Kid, which I didn't even think that would be a choice for me. But it looks really cool and has Jackie Chan. Karate Kid and Sinners and Jane Austen, but like Jane Austen didn't seem like a big theater kind of movie. But yeah, these two, and it was like the other ones look like crap. Like, no offense, but I like in terms of like paying for it, paying for them. So yeah. Um, it on the other hand, it makes me excited to get back to, going on the path of filmmaking, because there's so much opportunity, and I hear so much of, whether it's TV shows or movies, so many people are just like, these are all boring, these are all like just not hitting whatever like we're expecting things to hit. And it might also be because there's so many options, and not just because they're not great, but before, like, you had so much fewer options. Yeah, so that's it. Sorry if it's too short and not that eventful. I have to wake up early tomorrow, and I have been going to bed early, but I still have a lot of sleep debt. I don't know. So I'm excited to hopefully get some more sleep tonight. And then I had, like I said, Pilates yesterday for the first time in months, and that was, talk about a rude awakening. That was really sad. It wasn't a bit more intense than the past ones, but like, no, it was really sad how little I could do. Yeah. Like, my hips were burning. And then Zumba today and Zumba Sunday, and Zumba felt great today. It's like, great. I don't get to use a lot of muscles. I just get to like dance. It's okay. I'm hoping to pass out and wake up without a headache. Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope so too. I don't know if I spoke about this. This is, I'm not a doctor. So take this with that consideration. I'm not saying things as a doctor. Um, this was something that a nurse recommended me for sinuses. And you probably know this already. This is kind of becoming really popular. This, I told my mom too, because she's going through it. Whether it's allergies or anything that's like congestion, even dry nose or anything, not too much of it, because it is, to me, it's a little too powerful. But once a day or so, when I was really sick in December, I think I used it more because there was a lot more. But for allergies, it's too strong to do it more than one a day for me. But this, she said, to prevent or like help prevent or whatever sinus infections, because it flushes things out. And yeah, so I don't know, for whatever that's useful. And like sinus can give you the pressure headaches and stuff. So yeah, but I hope you feel better, Maria. And yeah, take care, everyone. Take care, because I think something's going around and it's not fun. You're welcome. Oh, and I don't think you were here. I think you. I'm sorry, I get the Marias confused, but sometimes when like you comment, I don't see necessarily who it is. But I think it was you that told me, really got on my case, appreciatingly so, for tangling my hair or detangling my hair. And I got this detangler, and I will say that I had so low expectations of this. I got one for me and one for my dog. And it was really more for my dog, but it was like two for whatever. They were a 2 packs. I'm like, okay, might as well try it. And it works well. Not perfectly, because my hair, I think, is just so dry that it's really breaking. I need to take my biotin. I need to take my vitamins. But yeah, it definitely helps. Even the wet brush, that's like great, but it's not perfect. And this, I'm surprised. I grew up on brushes being out of metal, not out of plastic. And I always felt like plastic was like not something you wanted in your hair, because it made it staticky and frizzy and all over the stuff, and more prone to breakage, I think. So yeah, cool. You don't like that? I like the wet. I like the wet brush, but for me, seriously, this detangles it for when it's dry. This detangles it better. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. My hair is like, it's going through it. um, different hairs for different things for different people. Different hairs. Yeah. Cool. I feel weird. It's so early, but we all get some nice sleep. Um, yeah, for dry. Um, have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you Monday, I guess. Or maybe I should do Tuesday. Monday seems like it's like always kind of weird, but I feel like Monday and Friday, because you're like, Mondays, some people dread it and whatever. It's like a lot. And then Friday's like, woo, weekend. And it's nice to kind of like bookend the work week. I don't know. But yeah, I'll see you Monday, and then hopefully I'll have more interesting things. But it's been definitely, these have changed a bit in the last few lives, because it's a lot more like topic focused and more sort of deep dives into movies or Justin's one video or whatever, and less in psychology, and less like, let's read Blake Lively's or Justin's or whoever's like latest filing. So yeah, and I assume through the weekend we won't have many new filings or anything crazy. So thank you all for being here. And yeah, so weird, but have a great night. Have a good night. I hope you feel better, Maria. And everyone, take care of yourself. And see you Monday. Peace, love, and compassion. Bye. Oh, wait. Let me start up my music again. Oh, this is, wait. I don't know what song. All right.